Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina episode. I have not had the Ohio Glass Museum or a representative from there in quite some time, so I will have somebody coming up here in just a couple of minutes, and also a surprise guest that you'll just have to wait and see who I've got. But we're going to have a lot of fun. Oh yeah, and it is, I know, Fair Week, and it is to be pumpkin show. So I always like to say with our fair, though, we save the best for last because it is the last fair of county fair in the state of Ohio. So if you're out doing that, have fun. Anyways, stick around. I'll be right back. I've got so much more to share. It's Down Home with Tina.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
What makes Fairhope what it is our staff. It's always a question that we ask, why do you want to be here with us? And what they most always say is, you've touched my life this way. You know, you took care of this person, or I've seen what you've done and I want to do that. And so the staff that have been here know what it takes. They've been on the other side. They see what it takes to make someone comfortable, to make the family comfortable, and really what kind of support they need. And so I think that's what really makes Fairhope what it is.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I have Mike Shook. He is a board member, used to be, well, still very involved, but used to be a lot involved with the Ohio Glass Museum, and I'm so excited to have you back. Mike, how are you?
I'm terrific, and I can't thank you enough for inviting us to come back and spend some time with you. I
can't wait to just learn about what you've been up to and what the Ohio Glass Museum has been up to. But what I really think, and I wanted to just start out with, was, and we were talking, folks, as I always do a little bit before we got started here, about glass is hot. Those people who work with glass, it is a very hot thing. And it made me think back to my dad when he worked in an aluminum steel plant. And he used to say to me, get out there on that mower in the hottest day of the summer and you go at it for an hour and times that by this much times 8 hours, or for 8 hours. And he goes, and that might be equal to what it's like to work in, you know, where he worked in the factory that he worked in. And I'd just be like, so those of us who have a love for glass, we need to have respect for those who actually put in all of that hard, long time work in those factories, those foundries, wherever it is.
How they do it.
No.
At the minimum sometimes of 8 hours a day. I don't know how they do it.
Right.
And I've been in those environments myself. So I certainly understand how tolerant you must have to be to work in that, under those conditions.
Not easy.
No,
not
it's
easy.
not.
So you are how many generations now?
Third generation. My grandfather retired from anchor hocking. My father retired from, he came home from World War II and started working in anchor hocking. And I came back from Southeast Asia and I started working in anchor hocking and retired then after almost 40 years.
Oh my goodness.
So it's in my veins.
It definitely
sure.
is. You look at Mike Shook, you see glass. No, I'm joking.
No, for sure. And now I'm in my retired time. I'm very active at the Ohio Glass Museum. Yeah. And it's still very hot there as well.
It is, yes, it is. So the Ohio Glass Museum, you were the executive director at one time?
I was. One of the joys of my life, and being affiliated with the Ohio Glass Museum and what it stands for. Certainly I take it very personally. It is almost like a family legacy. Yeah. But certainly we know that to honor and respect and understand the importance of what glass has meant to this community, this county, and for that matter, to this state. And that's why it's the Ohio Glass Museum and not the Lancaster Glass Museum.
Right.
And it is paying a tribute to this industry. And again, what it's done to us culturally, artistically, and economically over the last over 125 years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I didn't even mention too that I had family. My aunts and uncles, either one of the glass companies, one or the other, both they were at until one I think closed. The
Right.
other they retired.
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the industry
crazy.
has shrunk for sure.
It has,
over
yeah,
over
it
the
has, yeah.
past I don't know, probably 25 years. It's just been a continuous process.
Affected many, many folks here in this community.
Yes.
Yes. So the Ohio Glass Museum. How many years have we had that?
We opened in 2006.
Okay. So it's, I mean, yes,
But
some
it's been
kids
it was a
haven't weren't
dream.
born that might be watching this, but for
Well,
the most part.
It was a dream in 2002, and that's when it was founded. And over
Wow.
a span of probably the next 3 or 4 years, it was a matter of putting together the funding to support it. And like I said, in May of 2006, we opened our doors, and the doors have been open ever since, with the exception of a little period, a little blip on the radar with
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's been open now. We're in our 18th year.
Nice. And it's located in downtown Lancaster.
Right in the heart.
Yes.
We are in the sweet spot.
That's
as
right.
far as I'm concerned.
I agree. There are so many pieces of glass in there. Do you guys have a count of how much glass, how many pieces of glass that you have in the Ohio
Oh my
Glass
gosh.
Museum?
Well, since I stepped away as the executive
yeah.
director, I spend a lot of time in our archives.
Okay.
So I'm becoming very much acquainted with the thousands and thousands of pieces of glass that we have in our archives. And that's the beauty too. As a nonprofit, we don't buy collections.
Right.
And the fact is that so many people have some amazing collections in their attics, in their basements, in their garage. And at some point they decide, we just don't have room for this anymore. And we get those calls saying, Mike,
Nice.
would you be interested in our Heisey glass collection? Well, certainly, we'll be right there to pick it up.
Well, and also some of those collectors, their children may not have that same passion for that glass or want it. So who are they going to want to give it to? Those who do have an appreciation for it. And that's you all at the Ohio Glass Museum.
Yeah, and when we're seeing that story play out over and over, it's somewhat a phenomenon of the generation.
Yes.
Yes, the brothers, the sisters, the relatives, the family. That, you know what, we don't want mom or dad's collection.
Yeah.
No more than my children or grandchildren want my
Your
stuff.
Right, right. They just don't have quite that appreciation
Exactly.
to it, and that's okay. Yeah, that's okay, because that's why you having the location and what you have is really nice for those who do have the love for it and want to come see.
But our reputation is known quite across the country. Probably one of the interesting pieces or experiences, the fact that we had a couple in Gainesville, Florida.
Okay.
And we just got this random phone call saying we have a massive collection. I believe it was something like 400 pieces of Anchor Hocking's Royal Ruby glass.
Oh.
We got a phone call. They said, we're downsizing. Would you guys want our collection?
Oh, Mike.
Now, Gainesville's a stretch to
It is.
to travel,
It's about
but you know,
12 hours or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
13. So, yes.
So we had to work our magic, and we figured out it took a couple, 2 or 3 SUVs full of boxes, but we got it back to the museum. This past weekend, we had a couple from Warren, Ohio, called, and we're putting mom in assisted living, and she has this amazing collection. It's almost 200 pieces, and would you like it?
Mike, what better way to preserve something that somebody once had that really, again, they loved it and that's why they collected it? Then again, to you guys, because if you don't have appreciation, that glass is going to get torn up. So I really think it's doing mom and dad a favor and doing that for them, to bringing it to a place that, so do you ever really say no to collections?
We just It's hard to say no.
So do you
It's
have a
hard to say
space
no.
or do
We
you have to
have
rotate
space.
out different?
We're creating more space as we speak, adding shelving into our archives to accommodate some of these gifts that people are bringing to our doorsteps. It's wonderful.
Is there a fee to take a tour through the museum?
Yeah, we have adult fees and
Okay,
at
okay.
$6 a person. We have senior rates.
Okay,
We
great.
have student rates, and we certainly offer discounts to past and present Anchor Hocking employees,
Nice.
as well as former Lancaster Glass employees. And we certainly honor our veterans as well with discounts.
Okay, very nice. Now, do you have memberships and things like that?
We have tiered memberships. I think our lowest membership is for a single person is $40. I think we're looking at possibly lowering that as well.
Okay.
And then we have, the higher rates for patrons in the hundreds of dollars.
Sure, sure. So, do you have different classes and offer things like that throughout the year for the
I'll
public?
tell you, that's been a phenomenon. It goes back a few years when we began offering classes where you can make your own Christmas ornament or you can make your own paperweight. And of course, the interest has grown now that you can take a class to make a pumpkin. And certainly
Yes.
we're right here in this fall season. And all of our classes for making pumpkins, they are sold out. I mean, we're just slammed.
I think they sold out the year before.
Well,
Or how soon do you
that's
have to?
one of our most
Seriously, though.
popular
Yeah,
classes
it would be. I could
year
see that.
round. It
Okay.
really is.
All right. Wow.
And your pumpkin and my pumpkin or anyone else's pumpkin, there's no two of them alike because they're
No.
all made by hand.
Do you do things around February for Valentine's Day and things like that?
We have
You do.
started a few years ago. It's kind of a play on words. I think there's a jewelry store that perhaps uses our same, or we use their
Yeah, kind of like.
Hearts on Fire.
Yeah. Which literally you guys.
And it
it's
becomes a
with-
date night.
Nice.
And we offer couples to come in together and make a glass heart.
Mm-hmm.
And we offer a little package,
to go with that.
some flowers and some beverages to celebrate that special occasion.
For those who might come in and they would be like, wonder what Mike Shook's very favorite piece is. I know this is hard. Is there a favorite piece or display that they have at the Ohio Glass Museum that you just don't want folks to miss out on?
Well, we currently, just recently, we changed our exhibit, and we have a massive collection of we have, I think, somewhere around 250 to 300 pieces of candle holders, which were donated to us by two gentlemen from St. Louis.
Oh, wow.
And we're showcasing those.
Okay.
But probably we also received a donation or a gift of, if you're familiar with Steuben or Steuben, however you wish to pronounce it, some exquisite pieces of handcrafted glass, and it is on display in the museum as we speak.
And you have some really beautiful glass, different styles of glass that's in there as well.
My
don't you?
favorite piece out of that collection is it looks like a rock. It's supposed to represent Excalibur from King Arthur.
Oh, wow.
And it has a sterling silver sword as a letter opener stuck in that rock.
Oh, that's cool. That would be.
That's my favorite
Your
piece.
very favorite piece. What is the contact information, Mike, for anybody interested about, or
Well,
you can follow the Ohio Glass
You can
Museum?
follow us at ohioglassmuseum.org.
Okay.
You can, that's same as our website, Ohio Glass Museum.
Okay.
You're welcome there. Our phone, 740-687-0101. Answer all your questions.
Perfect.
We're open 6 days a week.
Perfect.
Come see us.
That's right. Or become a member. Better yet, become
Yeah,
a member.
yeah. Become a member. Sustainability as a nonprofit
That's-
is number one.
That's right.
Memberships and visitations. Schedule a class.
That's right. There you go. Thank you so much, Mike, for taking the time to be with me.
Thank you, Tina.
Folks, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. It's Downhill with Tina.
Dagger Law has more than 110 years of experience in nearly every aspect of the law. When we're not just helping clients, we're helping the community. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and around town because we live and work here too. We are your neighbors, and we want to help you when you need it. When we help each other, we're stronger. Our community is stronger. Creating a strong, vibrant, healthy, and safe community is everyone's responsibility, and we take the responsibility seriously. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced.
Welcome back to Downhill with Tina. As you all have, some of you or most of you know, I have with me here, her name is Karla Peretta. She is a really good friend of mine. We have been friends for about 11 years. It was 2013 that our paths had crossed through a mutual friend of ours at the time. Our friendship has continued to grow, I like to think, throughout the years, and we have had some really fun memories. However, we're going to go back quite a few years to the 80s. The 80s was such a fun time because that was a time I was a teenager.
Yeah,
and I
me
learned
too.
so much about
Young
life.
teenager.
Yes,
Like young teenager.
Oh, yeah.
And,
like, I was
wow.
8 in 1980.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You,
I would have been about 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it was, oh my goodness, such a different world.
Crazy to think.
I mean, some of the
more than
things.
40 years ago. Yikes.
yeah,
That's whoa! Wow, that's crazy. That's kind of mind blowing.
To put it in that
terms,
right? In that, yeah, and think of it in that perspective. A really long time ago.
Yeah.
And you've had a child, and I've had 2 children, and I've been married, and you are married, and a lot of things have happened since back in those days. And we were talking earlier when I had said, "Hey, do you mind doing a segment with me and talking about the 80s?" And you had mentioned about telephones.
Yes. Oh my gosh. As soon as you said that, I was like, I had distinct memories of running home after school and getting on the phone because, like every teenager, we spend lots of time on the phone. But my phone was attached to the wall. And it used to be kind of a joke because my mom used to call it my leash because it could only go so far away from the wall. And if we left the house, it was make sure you have a quarter, so you can use the payphone in case you have an emergency.
Well, for me, every now and again, and I'll never forget it because the phone would mess up, like we needed a new phone or something. And so I was actually putting together little wires. I will never forget that. And then if we didn't have a phone at that time, we lived in the country. We had no way of knowing, and we lived down this road that you could see like a half a mile. At night, you would see cars coming, and I'd be like, "Oh, is that my friend? Is that my friend? Is my friend?" And then they'd go right, like, another car. Like every 5 minutes, a car might, or 10 minutes. It was just like, oh my goodness. So that in itself taught us back in the day to have patience. I'd like to think it taught us patience, and just say it's instant gratification.
Yes,
for so many things. But what would it have been like for you, do you think, and us, if we would have had phones back then? Because or to take pictures and to do the things that they do now. Would it have completely have changed, do you think, our whole entire perspective of what our teenage years would have been like?
I mean, I do feel like that. I feel like that because I can kind of compare my teenage experience to my daughter's teenage experience. And there has definitely been pluses and minuses. There is a lot more connectivity, but then there's a lot more where we don't really know what's real, sometimes I think with the phones.
Also, with that being said, and I know that I want to talk about a lot more than just the phones, is the media. There's so much thrown that the kids are so influenced, so much more so than what it was when we were teens. Like, we didn't have things that we saw on TV, what some of the trends and things like that, or in a magazine of the trends of a different place in the country or even the world. But now it's just kind of like, oh, it's right there on your phone. Oh, let's see what's going on. I mean, they even have it now that you can rent clothes.
Well, I think it's so cool now that, like, my daughter's like, oh my gosh, I love these pants. And I'm like, yep, but I did it first. Because it's finally come back around and I have waited patiently. And the parachute pants will come back. And, all of these, and some of those trends, I'm just glad they should just have died on the cutting room floor and never come back. Like, I remember the straight shoulders and the shoulder pads and the floofy hair and
the
weird
mesh
hats.
Do you remember the mesh half
Oh,
tops for the men,
Absolutely.
for guys?
Yes, for
the
guys.
boys.
Yes, the whole Madonna phase. That was crazy. The Devo phase where they had like the little cone hats. Then, I mean, I don't know. I reinvented myself so many times through the 80s. Like, I mean, I went from Ghostbusters to Madonna to Jazzercise Master with the oh my
Richard
gosh,
Simmons.
Richard
And
Simmons
then
and the
leg
leg
warmers.
warmers. Yes. Oh my gosh. And my mom, that was like when wrinkled, like pre-wrinkled clothes were like so cool. And I remember coming home from school and my mom was trying to iron out the wrinkles of the shirt. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? They're supposed to be that way. And she's like, but this will make you look like a slob. And I just laughed so hard because I'm like, oh my gosh, now the trends have changed so much.
So much.
So and movies
movies too, and the TV shows, and it's so funny because some of those TV shows, that may be going into the 90s, no 80s, that they are recreating or kept around. Do you know the Karate Kid movie?
Oh, of course.
I think that is the only one that's still to date, that because they have Cobra Kai, is that what it is?
Yes.
Now
it's on.
Yes, it's kind of like
they've kept it going with a lot of the original.
I think that is the only one, but there have been so many movies
Ghostbusters. No, Ghostbusters was remade,
but not as
times.
a TV series.
But not as
like
a not as a TV
like
series.
that one is. That one is like, I think, the longest lasting that has continued on. I'm pretty sure. But this is pretty interesting. Do you remember what movies that caused the rating for movies from PG to PG-13? Do you know what that was for the parental guidance and that? Do you remember what two movies it was?
I do not remember. I think maybe one of them might have been E.T., but I'm not sure.
E.T. was one of them, and the other one was Gremlins.
Oh, Gremlins! Oh, I love Spike so very, much. That was so great.
I love Gizmo. I thought
Gizmo was cute,
he
but
was just
Spike, wow, loved him.
Yeah, he of course liked Little Teddy Bear.
Classic.
Well, yes. So those were the two movies that actually made the whole movie. You know, people and parents kind of go, "Oh, those are a little like too much for a young child or younger." So yes,
Right.
PG-13.
And then we think about what we have on TV now. Wow. It's kind of crazy.
But so I got this magazine, and it was about all of the 80s, and I thought, holy cow, we've got to just kind of take a step back into time. There were so many great TV shows. Oh my goodness, The Cosby Show.
The Cosby Show was fantastic.
Was one of my favorite ones watching growing up. Some of the people that I look in the magazine are not even alive.
No, I know, that kind of blew my mind. Like pictures of like Lady Di, and when her children were born, and you know, it's crazy. And like a lot of the musicians that are no longer with us.
Yeah, Tina Turner, one of them.
Comedians no longer with us.
Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, Whitney Houston,
Prince. I mean,
these are iconic,
like, and famous. Iconic, like I think like iconic moments too as a teenager, like us feeling so, you know, like we were as every kid, like you kind of get that romantic feeling. I remember being like 16 Candles. I must have watched that a million times.
Yes,
because I was just like, oh, you know, it was just so amazing, just so kind of sweet and innocent, like some of those moments, you know. And I think how culture has changed now. As we tell the stories.
There were so many more innocent movies back then. Even now as an adult, we can go back and watch and still see that they are truly, completely not what they are.
And I remember
today.
Cyndi Lauper. Oh my gosh. The hair, the crazy colors. It was so fun. I
want to break out in song, but we won't do that.
Yes, we're not going to do that.
But Michael Jackson was one of the big ones that,
Yes.
Rick Springsteen, huge. I'm just kind of going through here. Oh, Who's the Boss? A good one.
Yes, Who's the Boss? That's
Dynasty.
I never watched that.
It was late.
It
was on late.
It was on late. I was never allowed to, but I remember
yeah.
wanting to like sneak out because it was like such drama and it was like such like, ooh, what's going on? You know, like I thought you were gonna learn something new, you know, on there.
So what I would like to do is I want to know if you will share with me your all-time favorite 80s movie.
Wow. I mean, honestly, probably for me, my all-time favorite. I mean, I'm really torn between like St. Elmo's Fire, Breakfast Club. Like, these are like movies that I remember seeing so much. But Romancing the Stone, oh my gosh, loved that movie so very much. I loved the adventure, and that was a great one.
Well, I want to know what your favorite movie of the 80s was, just to kind of see. And maybe if we get one that we can, see. But everybody, if it kind of goes along with the greatest movies of all time that they talk about in this magazine. And that was a little bit of take a step back into the 80s. Thanks so much.
For the last 30 years, I've worked in Fairfield County. The beauty of working in this county is it's small enough that you get to know people on an individual level, that you get to do the kind of work you want to do personally, but it's large enough that we have some resources and we have some ability to bring coalitions together to make some bigger changes.
You have the benefits of a suburban community, and Columbus isn't too far away if you want to get that urban experience. Plus, if I ever feel like I need to get away for a little bit, there's tons of great hiking around here.
Well, Fairfield County is just a really different county, so it's very resource rich. There are so many people in similar and overlapping helping fields. They make excellent community partners.
We all know each other and we don't compete with each other. Like, agency-wide, we're all here to serve our clients, and you know someone everywhere, you know what I mean? And so that, I just feel like that helps it to get our clients the best care. So that's a big thing for me.
Community, connections, collaboration. The Fairfield County Way.
Down Home with Tina is brought to you by these amazing sponsors. Folks, this week would be my dad's birthday, and the irony of all of it is that I was talking about him, if you caught that at the beginning of the show. My dad, he worked at Lancaster Glass, and what I had mentioned at the beginning, though, of the show was how he worked in a plant, a steel plant, an aluminum plant, for many, many years. As a matter of fact, that's where he had retired. So I've always had a respect for those who work in that line of work in the glass factories. I have a couple of aunts and uncles, probably I think a couple of uncles and one of my aunts who worked and retired at locally Anchor Hawking. Back to my dad, being his birthday this week and him passing. He passed late December 31st, actually, in 2022. Take time for your loved ones, spend time with them, and appreciate them and them being here, especially your parents. Even if you didn't have a great relationship or you don't have one now, make amends and spend time and enjoy, because it was something, because it's inevitable. We know that we're not going to be alive forever. So my dad, I was blessed enough to get to spend some time with him in the last year and a half. And I'm very glad that that happened, because I wasn't real close to him growing up or anything. But those were some really good times and memories that I did get to have with my dad. And I was there with him right up until the very end. So just hug your loved ones and let them know that you love them. You don't have to be next to them or with them every single day, but just let them know. Okay? Folks, I hope you enjoyed the show this week. I hope you have a great week. Until next time, God bless. Good day. It's Down Home with Tina.